Welcome everyone, it's Susan Whitcomb with theacademies.com, and I'm here on behalf of my colleague Beverly Harvey, Director of the Certified Job Search Strategist program, and with yet some more tips and trends in job search. Recently, Beverly and I wrote an article about the 12 job search trends in 2012, and so we'd like to share just a couple of those with you here today. We'll go in reverse order and again just pick out a few. One of them has to do with the fact that there are just restless workers ready to jump ship. Some of the studies that have been out talk about 1 in 3 employees seriously considering a job change. 84% intend to actively seek a new position when the economy starts looking better. So that's one of the 12 tips. Another of the 12 tips has to do with people sort of sidestepping instead of ladder climbing. And what we mean by that is that from data shown in the ExecuNet survey that came out recently, about 6 years ago, employees or executives expected a huge increase, 14% increase in their salary, maybe not huge, but certainly significant. And just a year or two ago, now they expected only 1% increase in that salary. So looking at making more of lateral moves as opposed to climbing up the ladder. Also some interesting statistics there from Blue Steps that you can look at. Another of the trends that we're seeing has to do with this whole concept of the resume and its evolution. And Deb Dibb and I, in the G3 program that we also provide through the academies, have developed this concept of the why by ROI being at the center of all of career communications, and then from that it expands out and diffuses out into the resume, the cover letters, personal marketing briefs, LinkedIn profiles, social media bios, etc. And that we're seeing that it's just no longer the resume is the sole purpose document when it comes to career communications, but this big web of influence. So that's a big trend that we're seeing. Another of the trends that we identified was this concept that it's becoming a marathon when it comes to interviewing. More and more employers are spending more time. In fact, Beverly was talking about one of her clients who had to go through 12 interviews and 2 or 3 hour-long plus phone interviews in the screening process. So really some changes in that. People are being very particular in their process. There's a couple of resources that might be of help here in that. Some of you are very familiar with Win the View. That's an excellent program. There's a new program that I found recently I'm very impressed with called the WOW interview process. And then there's Interview. So those are some sites that you might want to check into. Another of the trends we see is that tech tools is just making the whole process easier for job seekers, sort of like the Swiss Army knife idea. And here are just a few of those tools that you may want to check out at some point with your clients. And then, no surprise, probably the number one trend that we're seeing in job search is that social search strategies are surging. So with Google and Facebook, Twitter, etc., LinkedIn, there was a survey that came out from JobVite, and they noted some interesting statistics, increase obviously in using social networking in the recruiting process. I think the most interesting stat here is that 64% use 2 or more networks for recruiting, so say LinkedIn plus Facebook or some combination of 2 tools. And with that, what's happening is that we're seeing professional and personal boundaries blurring in that process. So I think it takes job search strategists and coaches helping clients to kind of understand and navigate and negotiate those boundaries. And there's an interesting online piece that talks about, do your job seekers pass the social media recruitment test, looking at how they would fare if they were being judged via LinkedIn or their blogs or Facebook or some of the other tools that are out there. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a certified job search strategist, you can do so at the link that's on your screen, www.theacademies.com/CJSS-preview. Thanks. See you soon.